Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to talk about factoring a trinomial of this form where a is greater than 1. So that means that the number in front of the x squared term is not a 1. It's either 2, 3, 4, any number greater than 1, like this example we have here. In this example, we have 3x squared minus 17x plus 10. It's a trinomial. That means that we have 3 monomials, 1, 2, 3, trinomial. And anytime it's in this form, where the first term is an x squared term, the second term is an x term, and the third term is a constant, we can factor the way we're going to do now. Now I showed you a little trick to factor trinomials when a is equal to 1. We're going to use that same trick for this factor, for this polynomial. So let's go ahead and start. The first step you're going to do, I'm going to rewrite this here. 3x squared minus 17x plus 10. How do I factor this? Well, this is the trick. You take this 3, your a, remember this is a, and we're going to multiply it times 10, and we're going to rewrite the expression without the 3. So now this becomes x squared minus 17x plus 30. So I've rewritten the expression. Now notice a is gone. Well, a became 1 now because I took the 3 and I multiplied it times 10. So now I can use that trick with the x that I showed you. And up here in this x, we write whatever c is, and down here we write whatever b is. So for this example, c is 30 and b is negative 17. And now we have to think of two factors that multiply together to give you 30. And those same two factors have to add or subtract together to get negative 17. So how do I find two numbers that make 30? Well, let's go here to the side. Let me go here to the side. This part is a little bit difficult for students because they can't think of two numbers to make 30. So you can make a list of all the factors of 30. Okay? Let's start with 1. 1 times 30 makes 30. 2 times 15 make 30. 3 times 10 make 30. 4 times nothing makes 30. And 5 times 6 makes 30. And then 6 times 5 makes 30. And we're done with the list. Once I reach two factors that I already have on the list, I stop with the list of factors. And now I check each one of these pairs to see which one works here. So if I take 1 and 30, if I write 1 and 30 here, 1 and 30, if I multiply 1 and 30, I get 30. But if I add 1 and 30 or subtract 1 and 30, I do not get negative 17. So that means that this pair of factors, no good. Gone. Let's try 2 and 15. 2 and 15. If I multiply 2 times 15, I get 30. And if I add 2 and 15, I get 17. I got it. That's the pair I need. Now, be careful before you continue. 2 and 15 make positive 17. I want it to make negative 17. So how do I do that? Well, negative 2 plus negative 15 will make a negative 17. Now check again, make sure you still get positive 30. If I multiply negative 2 times negative 15, I do get positive 30. And if I add negative 2 and negative 15, I get negative 17. So these are the two magic numbers. What do these numbers mean? Well, that means I can factor this expression with these two numbers. And here's what we end up with. We set up our binomial product. I'm going to write x. Since this is negative 2, I'm going to write minus 2. And then I'm going to write x, and since this is negative 15, I'm going to write minus 15. Now we're not done yet. Remember in the beginning, we took this 3 and we multiplied it by 10, and we got rid of it. We can't just get rid of it. We need to bring it back. And the way to bring it back is that 3 that we multiplied in the beginning. Now I'm going to take each one of these numbers and I'm going to divide it by 3, like this. Okay? And your next step would be to reduce the fractions. Now I want to reduce the fractions to where I have a number that's an integer. I don't want decimals. So this fraction here I cannot reduce. When you cannot reduce the fraction to an integer, then what I do is I take the denominator, that 3, and you're going to write that 3 here in front of this x. So this becomes 3x minus 2, and you keep the numerator. There you have it. And then what we do with the other factor is, since I can reduce this to an integer, then x minus 5. And now we're done factoring. This would be the answer to factoring this expression. And you can always go and check. I'm going to rewrite it here so that I can check my work. And it's a good idea to check if you have the time, because checking will tell you if you definitely have the right answer. So how do we check? We do FOIL. We take the first term and we multiply it by the first term in the other parentheses. So 3x times x, 3x squared. Then we take that same term and we multiply it by the second one. So 3x times negative 5, that makes negative 15x. Then I take the second term, negative 2 times x, that gives you minus 2x. And take that same second term, negative 2 times negative 5, that makes positive 10. And now we collect like terms, so that means I can add together negative 15x minus 2x because they are like terms and they will add to negative 17x plus 10. Did I get the expression that I had originally? Yes, we did. That tells me that this is perfect, that this is correct. Okay? Now here's what I want you to do. I want you to practice using this method. I want you to try these two examples here. Do them in your notebook, hit pause, and then come back to see the answer to see if you got it right. Here are the answers. I hope you got them right. If you didn't, go back and watch the video again. Good luck!